Is that it? We live? How do I look? I got so distracted listening to my pre-show 80s playlist that I didn't even take a second to check the setup anyway. There we are. Let me make sure, of course, this is the new pain in the ass thing that I do when we go live. I have to make sure the audio sounds okay because there have just been so many fucking clusterfucks as of late that I don't trust it to function correctly. So for the one person who is currently watching the stream, just enjoy these big fat titties, and I'll be with you in a moment. Yes, here we are. Come on. Hurry the fuck up. 80s play with so many fucking clusterfucks as of late. There we go. Sounds good. I'm satisfied. Hope you are. And here we go. Of course, the massive heaving bosoms that you see on the screen, and I'm just going to adjust this light right quick. Woo! There we go. Earbud fell out. We're off to a fine start this evening. Oh, perfect. The massive heaving bosoms that you see on the screen over here. I believe those are, I think the correct term these days is indigenous people, an indigenous woman bearing her massive heaving bosoms, because it's Thanksgiving month, and I thought that would be fun. We'll try to get we got a couple weeks to go, so we'll try to get like a pilgrim and whatnot up there. I'm thinking about, I don't know yet, and I'll decide within the next couple weeks. I may do a night before Thanksgiving live stream. So I'm trying to figure that out. Got to see what the week looks like. But of course, the big fat ass titties that you see up there they're a reminder for you to take heed of the advice down at the bottom of the screen that says subscribe, you bastards. Subscribe to the live stream. You can find it here on YouTube. You find Mike Montone on YouTube. It's me smoking a cigar. I go live here 8 p.m. Friday nights. And tell your friends about it. If you're watching it right now and you have a friend who has nothing better to do on a Friday night, you're friends with some fucking loser, text them. Be like, hey, quit being such a fucking a loser. You're not doing anything on Friday nights. Come hang out with us on the live stream. And then call him a fucking loser again, just for fun. And then, Facebook.com/The Savage Crew is the other place where the video tends to live. And I'm going to start posting more on there. It was like a very filled, busy spring, summer, and early fall. And I had shit that just took precedence over chopping up like video clips and posting to Facebook and whatnot. So the fact that I was using going live once a week as the content spot, but we'll start doing more in the weeks and months to come. So be on the lookout there. Facebook, there'll be a bunch of it. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. I'm just short of 2,000 followers on Instagram. So if you'd be so kind as to follow over there, so that I can become an influencer and I can get deals to peddle all sorts of stuff like fucking CBD oil infused jack off lubes and erection pills and what have you. Help a brother out, because then you'll get discount. You have imagine a discount code for erection pills. What a great day that would be. You getting a hard dick on the cheap. Wouldn't that be a delight? And what else? Of course, the podcast, the audio version. For those of you who, for whatever reason, don't like tuning in to the live stream to see a nice big fat set of tits start and end every show, as we do here at the Savage Sacktap, there is an audio-only version of this show available. You can find that at the savagecrew.libsyn, LIBSYN.com, and look for the Savage Sacktap wherever podcasts are downloaded: Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, all the fucking podcast places. If it's not somewhere, tell me. I'll submit the RSS feed, and it will be available in your podcatcher of choice. But again, the video is where it's at. We want to see big ass titties. Thomas Hager says he's not a tits guy, but not an anti-tits guy either. He's just somewhat ambivalent to tits, which is kind of weird to me, Tommy. But despite all that, he says those are some nice fucking tits. Well, we all have something to be thankful for then, all right? If a guy who's not that into tits can appreciate this set of tits, then who among us cannot? So tell your friends that we're hanging out here. We're checking out some titties. We're talking about the topics of the day, and we're having a good time. We're not taking ourselves too seriously. We're just doing a little podcasting. And with that in mind, let's get to that. You've had enough preamble for one night. Dildos in school. An awesome day in the annals of show and tell, or a curriculum update gone wrong. And does it make you a bitch to complain about sportsmanship after getting blown out in a high school football game? Yes, of course it does. All that and Disney princesses eating each other's pussies in the latest episode of the Savage Sacktap. It starts right now.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
Sadly, when the show gets underway, I do have to remove the big tits from the screen. We have business to tend to. Don't you worry. They will be back. They'll be back at the end of the program. The big tits will return. Just get set up here. Okay, yeah, I am Mike Montone. This is the Savage Sacktap. If you're wondering on the live stream why I'm not wearing my usual, button-down shirt, looking dapper as I am wont to do, I have to represent the Glen Rock Football Panthers. My alma mater has a first-round playoff game this evening, I believe, at the Waldwick Warriors. So I had to represent. You got, as Kramer and David Putty remind us, you got to support the team. So that is why. Anyway, I told you guys a few weeks ago I was at the gym, and all sorts of fucking stories come out of Retro Fitness Hoboken. Mostly stories about assholes standing there looking at their fucking cell phones in the squat rack while they do 65-pound barbell rows. But there was this individual in the lobby, and it appeared to be some sort of work-related meeting, and he was hurling the N-word around and threatening to get violent, and I was sort of pontificating on, how does, a 95-pound chick in yoga pants feel when she walks in and sees Patrick Ewing fucking, screaming an ethnic slur and threatening someone, I'm still not sure who, with violence, but it was a funny thing to run into, so I appreciate it. And look, sometimes people at work get on your shit. What are you gonna do? You may be terrifying the customer, but oh well. Anyway, I walk in yesterday, I think it was, and he's still there, still gainfully employed. He's angry but hardworking. I'll give him that. He's shouting into a cell phone that shit's about to get gangster, and if I won't use the word he used during this phone conversation, but you can imagine what it was. Wants shit to get gangster, then shit's gonna get gangster. And I was looking at him and I thought, this is not a gentleman who I wouldn't want to engage in any gangster behavior with this gentleman. He appeared quite serious about it. Um, what a way to start a workout. Gets you jacked up, though, thinking about people doing gangsta shit. Um, I also, just a brief update. Not a whole lot there. I realize that. But I do feel now a responsibility to update you on the proceedings with this gentleman. And I don't know how long he'll be there because there is staff turnover at this gym like a motherfucker. This gym fucking blows. You've heard me complain about it at length. I was talking a few weeks ago as well about a three-way. I guess it was a Tinder three-way in Indiana that ended with a murder and almost a double murder. It was just one actual murder, and then the one murderer getting killed by the cops. The guy had walked in on his girlfriend, I guess, doing meth and preparing to have a three-way with a couple that she met on a dating app. And he wasn't too happy about it, so I guess he made her hold them at gunpoint while he beat the guy to death. And then the cleaning lady showed up, so they rushed to hide the body. But the cleaning lady saw the chick tied up, and then they tried to tie her up, but she got out and waved down a cop. And then the cops were outside, and the guy who the boyfriend who walked in on the whole thing. Stepped outside and I guess he, menaced the cops, and they were just like, all right, let's just shoot this motherfucker. So I had asked if anyone listening was from flyover country, from Indiana, that area, and is there anything else to do there, or is a meth-fueled three-way with a couple from a dating app on a weekday afternoon, is that the best game in town? And my buddy Cam, who is a very supportive, avid listener of the Sacktap, was kind enough to give me a call and give me an update. I don't know why I'm mispronouncing words like an asshole today. Maybe I have a brain tumor. Maybe that's it. That's what I'll blame. It's a brain tumor. Anyway. Indianapolis is apparently referred to as Naptown, and he said that the best thing going in the area when he was growing up there was a skating rink and a mall called the Circle Center, which sounds fucking terrible. So I guess the verdict is that you want to avoid getting murdered or murdering someone while doing it, but a methamphetamine-fueled three-way is the best activity to do if you live in the Midwest. And again, I'll take comments from anyone living in the region if they want to verify or object to that. Thomas Hager, you son of a bitch. So I'm slowly morphing into Bobo. That is not a constructive comment, Thomas. True as it might be. I'm a fan. I like Daniel's a good egg. I see him at Citi Field from time to time. I didn't get to a game this season. I didn't get vaxxed soon enough. Anyway, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it is football season. There was a lot happening off the field in the NFL this week. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Obviously, the horrible fatal DUI accident with the dude who's no longer with the Raiders. But I will say this as a raging booze hound, that it is amazing. A former raging booze hound. I hope I said a previous raging booze hound. I still drink a beer or two once in a while, but holy fucking shit that I used to drink. Nothing like a good weekend at the shore filled with booze, cocaine, and sun was really a nice way to kill 72 hours when you're in your late 20s. I won't say I didn't have a great time doing it, but my body just can't fucking handle it anymore. Alcohol is it's amazing that alcohol is the most legal drug. That we're just, as a country, we just pour it down our fucking throats. It makes you feel like ass. at the very least, waking up in the morning not feeling like shit is a great reason to cut down on your booze consumption. But dumb shit like driving whatever he was doing, like 150, 160 miles per hour, and killing someone, generally does not happen unless you're under the influence. And particularly booze seems to be the one to do that. Although, I mean, obviously you throw a little cocaine in there too. I'm not saying that's what he was doing, but that, the two tend to go hand in hand. And even blow now, like, don't do that. It's all filled with fucking fentanyl. Scary times. But the point is, do yourself a favor, get into like edibles or some shit. The worst case scenario is you'll be glued to the fucking couch. Your eyes will be a little fucked up. You'll watch a shitty movie and you'll fall asleep. I feel like those are considerably better options than vehicular homicide. But anyway, moving on to more delightful things. I love this Aaron Rodgers situation. The point I wanted to make, really the reason I brought up the vehicular homicide that took place, was that Pro Football Talk thinks that the Aaron Rodgers vaccine situation is somehow like a bigger deal than the fucking deadly DUI. Apparently someone did the math, and Pro Football Talk has tweeted, here's one of their more recent ones. They've tweeted like 18 times about the Aaron Rodgers vaccine situation, and they tweeted 4 times about the fatal DUI, which is fascinating to me. Like that just shows you, how much everything that people right now, all they give a fuck about is this imaginary little internet civil war that's going on. And they want to do shit like that. Like, I wonder this is great. What a fucking tweet. I wonder what State Farm thinks of the Aaron Rodgers interview. I fucking love the Aaron Rodgers interview. I love what he is up to. I think everyone in their life dreams of being in kind of a fuck you position where you can just tell people to fuck off because you're basically the king at something. You've made a shitload of money, so you're set financially for life, and you've reached the top of whatever your profession is. Like, yeah, maybe in theory, they can run you out of the profession, but you've already dominated it for so many years that it's like, whatever. All right, like, if Aaron Rodgers was forced to stop playing football today, I think he would be, like, pissed. And then he'd be like, oh, yeah, wait, I dominated the NFL for quite some time. I'm the fucking king-swinging dick. I have millions of dollars. I bang hot chicks. Yeah, I'm fucking good. So I really appreciate that. Because everyone, like, that is, I feel like, the ultimate, right? Like, being in that position. And if you're not aware of what happened, he's pretty much taken that fuck you status for a walk. He had been asked earlier in the season, I guess, if he was vaccinated, and he said that he was immunized. And so people went ahead and assumed that it meant that he was vaccinated, but apparently he's just been taking a regimen of drugs to raise his antibodies. And he subsequently got COVID, and I guess he's going to miss the game this weekend. And people are now furious because for some reason, even though you can still get COVID with the vaccine, like it's not a fucking complete firewall against infection. They're pissed off. They're pissed off at him, and it's like this weird. Every once in a while with this vaccine shit, it just kind of seeps through that it's not really about vaccination, it's about control. Because I feel like we live in a very mentally ill country, and one of the hallmarks of mental illness is is getting mad that you can't control an outcome or you can't control someone else's behavior. And that's what it feels like is going on with Aaron Rodgers, particularly like this pro football fucking what are they, pro football talk tweet, like shit like this where you're like, "Oh, okay, so you decided not to do the thing that I'm politically invested in, so I'm going to try to cost you a sponsorship deal." Like what is the fucking point of that? Like really, what is the fucking point of that? Like that is a sign of severe mental illness. And that's why I really appreciate that Aaron Rodgers is just being like is just waving his dick at this whole thing. Despite the fact that he is a notorious Dallas Cowboy killer. He is shaking his dick at a group of people that I absolutely can't fucking stand. So I'm with it. He's got some great quotes here. He says, "I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now, so before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight on some of the blatant lies that are out there about myself right now," Rodgers began. He said that he didn't lie during his initial press conference, which people have been saying that he's been lying because they said, "Are you vaccinated?" He said, "Yeah, I'm immunized," which they're saying he said, "Yeah," so that means he was saying, "Yes, I'm vaccinated," but obviously people kind of speak in, that casual speak, "Yeah, I'm immunized." He's not saying, "Yes, I'm vaccinated." He's saying, "Yeah, I'm immunized." It wasn't some sort of ruse or lie. It was the truth. Nevertheless, people that, so I got that. Got that part. He said he studied the vaccines before making the decision and claims that he was allergic to one of the ingredients in Pfizer and Moderna's mRNA vaccines. And he said the CDC's website advises people with allergies against those vaccines not to take them. And he said he didn't want to take Johnson & Johnson because he heard that friends were having reactions to it, which I feel like, even if you're like, all right, the reaction thing is overblown, which I don't fucking know. I'm not an immunologist. I'm not an expert in any of this. If you have allergies to two of the vaccines and you hear people are having reactions to the third vaccine, it's pretty fucking reasonable to be like, hey, I would rather not take a chance with it. Like, I understand that. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, you can't, even if you're a person who's like, we have to trust the science, then I feel like you have to be sciencey enough to be like, okay, well, this isn't going to be a thing we can give to 100% of the population. We give it to most people, and then if you're a person who, for other reasons, really can't or shouldn't or doesn't want to risk it, well, you should, look into take the other fucking steps, whatever they are, which I guess, what did he say? He used the Rogan shit. Yeah. He says, "I've been doing a lot of stuff that he recommended in his podcast and on the phone to me, and I'm going to have the best immunity possible now based on the 2.5 million person study from Israel that the people who got COVID and recover have the most robust immunity. I'm thankful for people like Joe stepping up and using their voice." So he's got this study that he looks at, and that's science. People are just using whatever comes from their guy, whatever side you're on, people are going to say that's science. So now we've got this whole asinine, people just shouting, "Trust the science" at each other, and they have their own studies and shit. So it is what it is. I can't imagine being a person and spending all of this time and energy getting furious at the Packers quarterback for taking a different route to prevent COVID. Like, he's not saying that COVID isn't dangerous. He's saying, like, oh, yeah, I acknowledge that this is a danger, so I'm taking these steps to protect myself from it. He's taking mononuclear antibodies, ivermectin, zinc, vitamin C and D, hydrochloroquine, and he says he feels pretty incredible. I mean, I guess he's got to be doing okay because he's been playing fucking NFL football. Like, he makes money with his body. And Joe Rogan if you listen to Joe Rogan, if you know anything about Joe Rogan, he is obsessed with his physical well-being. Um, so these two guys who are so reliant on like physical performance and fitness and durability and all that, and who both have access to multi-million-dollar health care, have chosen to make these treatment decisions for themselves. I don't what what the fuck? Who the fuck are you to say don't do that? Like it just seems so fucking stupid. Like it seems like now you're just glued. You have found I don't know what it is that people are getting tattoos of the vaccine. They're fucking obsessed with it. They're obsessed with this thing, and yet they spent months deifying governors like Murphy and Cuomo, who literally sent the death rate soaring by sending infected old people into fucking nursing homes. It's just so bizarre how everyone. I'm sure there's picking and choosing of shit from whatever the other end of it is. I'm just like my fascination with the I guess we'll call it the left wing side of it is that they seem to have much more of it. That opinion seems to have much more of an influence on major corporations and the media and everything like that. So if you do something that opposes it, it seems like you're taking more of a professional and social risk. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I realize that there are also fucking wacko, your fucking drunk Thanksgiving uncle on Facebook spouting just wild nonsense about COVID. So it's not, I'm not siding with one group of Looney Tunes over the other, but it just feels like when it comes to shit like this, when it comes to adults making their own decisions about how they protect themselves from an illness, it feels like there are a bunch of people who they're natural born pussies, and they love being afraid of things, and the idea that for like the past 2 years almost now, because we're coming up on 2 years of this, they were able to. Everyone was kind of scared, so everyone was acting like a pussy. Even I, who do not feel that I'm a pussy, was standing 6 fucking feet away from people, because early on they were like, yeah, this thing's just gonna kill everybody. Like, they were like, yeah, everyone's gonna fucking die. Stand 6 feet away from each other. So, but now, like, when everyone started to realize after we saw fucking riots in the streets where people were on top of each other for hours at a time, and there weren't spikes coming from those, people were like, oh, okay, things got a little blown out of proportion here. These people are pissed, so they're doing the old crabs in a bucket, trying to pull everyone back down to being a big fucking pussy. And they're like being, they're just trying to bully people into being pussies again. And people are kind of getting to a point where like, no, we're not acting like bitches. Like we just had the fucking white boy summer. It's football season. It's Christmas. We're here to have a good time, motherfuckers. All right, quit acting like bitches. And speaking of pussies and bitches, probably the biggest pussy ass bitch state, California. No surprise that that's where our next football story comes from. Let me get this bullshit tweet out of here. One second. Just taking a quick peek at the comments section. Mike, what's up? Blaze that shit. I did, of course, hit the pen. I've been doing the pen much more than the flower lately. I actually don't have any. I don't have any herb in my home right now. I just have edibles and a couple vape carts. I like it better. It's like a cleaner high. You don't get. You don't like fucking fall asleep or get knocked on your ass. It doesn't smell like anything. It's nice. It's very nice. But speaking of pussies from California, there's this high school football team got its fucking ass kicked, 106 to nothing, and they acted like a bunch of bitches afterwards. And then the school administration from the winning team acted like another group of bitches. A California high school apologized after its football team won 106 to nothing last week, a blowout that drew criticism from the opposing school and a state sports federation for a lack of sportsmanship. Englewood High School principal Debbie Tate issued a statement on Monday apologizing to Morningside High School, saying the administration will work to ensure the school's football program conducts itself with the highest level of sportsmanship and integrity going forward. We did not conduct ourselves with sportsmanship and integrity, and the final score was unacceptable. Yeah, fucking unacceptable if you're on the other team because you got your dicks kicked in, Tate said, adding that the Englewood coach Milvon James also offered his apologies to the Morningside High School football program and the larger school community. And this is the most pathetic part of the story. The apology comes after Morningside coach Brian Collins told the LA Times the Englewood team refused to allow a running clock, even as the team was up 59-0 after the first quarter, calling the decision classless. Well, first of all, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, Brian. The story after this should be Coach Collins fired, defensive coordinator also canned for giving up 59 points in the first fucking quarter. Holy shit. How bad do you suck? I was involved in the sport of football in some form or another for over a decade and a half. I think 16 years was the tally. I played second grade through sophomore year of college, and then I coached for a few years after I got out of the Marine Corps. So I've been around a lot of football, and this is not football shit. You do not whine like a bitch after you get your ass kicked. This must be a new thing. I have never heard anyone act like such a fucking pussy. Like, if you get your fucking dick kicked in, you get your dick kicked in. It sucks. It feels bad. Nobody likes to lose. But I think that bitching to the LA Times is way worse than running up the score. We would run into, the occasional like grouchy parent. My high school football team was very good. We averaged, I think my senior year we averaged about 45 points a game. So we would frequently be winning by large amounts at halftime, and we would do things like come out if we were kicking off to start the second half. If we were up 30-0, whatever, we'd onside kick to start the half, because you have to practice your shit against the other team to know if your shit works. Like, how say you get into a playoff situation and you haven't practiced your onside kick against a varsity opponent. You've only practiced it against your JV team or your fucking prep team or whatever you call it. You can't be assured that you can execute an onside kick. You need to do it in games, and if your team is beating the shit out of other teams, there may not be a game situation that calls for using your onside kick, but you have to get out there and you have to fucking run the thing. Likewise, the impression that I get, and I would guarantee the reason that this team did not want to go to a running clock, is that they're going to play good teams when they eventually get to the playoffs. They're going to play teams that are not going to give up 59 points in the first quarter. They have to have their guys physically conditioned to play a full 4 quarters with clock stoppages and all that stretches the fucking the game out, and they have to get them ready to. They might want to run some clock management shit in the second half, run through some 2-minute drill, and unfortunately for the team that's getting its ass kicked, you you have to do that against a varsity opponent, and you're becoming essentially a live game practice for this team. You can't do those things when it's just a running clock for 12 minutes. The nature of the game changes. These guys have to have their guys ready to compete in the postseason. To do that, you need to play. You need to be conditioned for 4 quarters of football. You need to have run your 2-minute drill. You need to do all of these things. You have to work on, clock control second half. Maybe you want to eat up some time. You got to be able to do all that shit. And doing that with, with a running clock going on just isn't realistic. So the answer to avoid this kind of thing happening to you is to not be a shitty team, and then you get to do it to an opponent. Otherwise, you suck and you're a game day practice squad and too fucking bad. I've never really experienced this, frankly. We got the only time we ever really got our asses kicked. The Pee Wee Ball, we'd get crushed because we played some bigger towns, but high school, we only lost once really badly. Passaic Tech beat us like 55-6. But they went on to win a fucking Group 4 state championship, so it is what it is. And then my freshman year of college, we scrimmaged Lafayette. My freshman and sophomore year, whenever we scrimmaged Lafayette, they would just fucking abuse us. The first time we did it, I got a nice little concussion. Just an absolute shit kicking. So it's not fun to be on the receiving end of that. But I'd be more bothered about the opponent apologizing to me after kicking my fucking ass. Like, if someone said I'm sorry after beating the shit out of me, I'd be embarrassed by that, not the fucking score. The score is that's just how the game went. Someone apologizing afterwards is your coach being such a fucking whiny bitch that he complains to the LA Times, and then the opposing team having to say they're sorry for emasculating you is way worse than losing the game. You just get your ass kicked by someone who's better than you. You got your ass kicked by someone who's better than you. It happens. It's the way fucking sports work. Don't be a bitch about it. You want to know, by the way, do you want to know what kind of I'm reading the comments, and I see people arguing with each other, and it's making me giggle. You want to know what kind of men are created when you start apologizing for winning football games? This fucking story will delight and infuriate you. It will. When you see the guy's picture at the end, you're gonna fucking love it. Dad censors gender stereotypes in daughter's Disney princess books. Some are hailing him a progressive fairy godfather of sorts, but others think he's just plain desecrating Disney classics. I'm going to be entirely honest. I have no skin in the game when it comes to the desecration of Disney classics. I, as a grown man, do not give one flying fuck about Disney. I know there are those who do. I know there are those who love Disney so much that they will vacation there multiple times a year. Consecutive years. I am not in that crowd. But I do love this fucking story. A concerned dad is stirring the pot online after releasing a series of TikTok clips that show him editing out gender stereotypes in his daughter's Disney princess books. The father, who goes by @DCaspers on the platform, uploaded the woke makeovers last year, but they've recently gone viral, racking up millions of views. What a fucking douche. Let me. I have one of his clips here. You know what? I'll save it to the end because I don't want to show you what he looks like yet. Um, but one of the captions says, "Changing tomorrow starts today," and he's one of these guys who just wants to outwoke other people. Like, he wants to. This has nothing to do with raising his daughter in any particular way. This has to do with feeding his ego about getting social media likes, and he knew that this would be a very like woke, douchey thing to do, which is big and popular in his crowd. I can't. One of the things I'm not experiencing, and if you're in the comment section, you have kids and you're going to like these, like kids' birthday parties or like Little League and whatever the fuck, and you're kind of dealing with the other parents. I'm very curious as to what it's like dealing with jackasses like this, because I know they're out there. Like, I know there are a lot of them out there. I see them on social media myself, but I don't really get a chance to interact with them personally. And I have to imagine that it throws you into some kind of violent rage. The inflammatory clip entitled "Dad Hack" shows Casper's altering a scene from a picture book version of 2009's Princess and the Frog, which shows Princess Tiana baking cookies for Prince Naveen, using some digital wizardry. Oh, I love it. Digital wizardry. He superimposes a pic of nachos over the sweets and replaces... That sounds like cultural appropriation to me. And replaces the pre-existing text with dialogue that indicates that the princess is actually making the Tex-Mex treats for herself. Excuse me, Prince Naveen. These nachos are just for me, the new version reads. So this is what I don't fucking understand about this, and this is what really bothered me. Not, like, I don't give a fuck. He can desecrate Disney all he wants. That is really... I don't have a dog in that fight. But I don't understand how making the female lead in this story a greedy, gluttonous cunt is a better lesson for your daughter than... I feel like the princess was baking cookies for the prince. It's a nice thing to do. I've had friends bake cookies for me, and it's... what a treat. Someone was thoughtful enough to bake cookies for you. How is that not a good lesson to teach your daughter? Hey, you know what might be nice? If you like someone, a nice thing to do would be to make them delicious baked goods and give them to them as a friendly gesture. Or if you're going to make nachos instead, you share them with someone. What a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. But apparently this guy, I feel like, this guy gets pegged by his wife, and maybe, just maybe, remember that gentleman at the gym I was telling you about earlier? I have a feeling he brings guys like that home and has them service his wife in the name of feminism and racial equality, and he enjoys from the corner and then cleans things up afterwards. That's the impression that I get about this guy. In his Little Mermaid makeover, Caspers digitally switches the script so Ariel baking a cake for Prince Eric becomes Ariel eating delivery pizza and scrolling through TikTok, where she finds a new love. And again, he edits the part where Ariel does something nice for somebody that she likes. And instead of doing that, which is baking him a cake, again, she wants to fuck this guy. Wasn't that the whole premise? She wanted to go up there and fuck this guy, and she didn't know how to do it because she couldn't speak. Baking him a cake is a nice thing to do. That's a nice, friendly gesture, and I don't understand. Like, that's how you prevent him from... Didn't he wind up marrying some cunt? Wasn't that the whole premise? Ariel couldn't talk, so she couldn't fuck the guy, and instead he winds up marrying the cunty broad. That I understand to be the gist of it. So instead, she sits on her ass eating a pizza by herself and scrolling through her phone. So she goes from doing something nice and productive, baking a cake for someone that she likes, which is generally a good thing to do, and instead she's going to sit on her ass, eat an entire pizza, and just mindlessly scroll through a toxic social media app. Like, it's amazing. Like, if you deconstruct what this guy is doing, he's actively turning his daughter into a shitty person. Like, you feel bad for the kid. Like, this is a form of abuse. By fan request, the freelance editor revamps the ending of Cinderella so that she marries Belle from Beauty and the Beast instead of Prince Charming. And of course, even a blind squirrel will find a nut from time to time. This one I can get behind, all right? I think the fan special version should go even farther than that. They should really make it true to the Cinderella story and have Belle discover a strap-on. Cinderella rides off in the carriage before it turns into a pumpkin or whatever the fuck, and she loses the strap-on that she brought to the ball because she was gonna hope to meet a hot chick to fill up her pussy with 12 inches of stiff rubber, and Belle finds the strap-on and she goes house to house throughout the kingdom, fucking young women with this magical strap-on until she finds the vagina that fits. And she tests out a few anuses as well. She two-holes these bitches in her search for the perfect pussy. And then her and Cinderella get married and live happily ever after, and grind their boxes against each other in a beautiful Disney castle. They like to lay on top of each other and rub their pussies against each other's thighs. They interlock their legs and they stimulate their clitorises by rubbing against one another's thighs. While all of the what's the fucking I can't fucking say it. You know what I'm talking about. The Disney creatures that have human features. Anthropomorphized? Is that it? Well, they all jack off in delight. If he did that, I wouldn't have a problem with this guy. But you're about to see what it is that makes this shit dick so hateable. Let me cue this up. Because, are you gonna fucking hate this.
Tricked me, had me wishing on a shooting star. But now I'm 20-something, I still know nothing.
Let me get it back. I want to get it back. Can I pause it? Pause! God damn it. Is there a way to full screen this bullshit? Nope. My bad. Whoops. God damn it. I am very sorry. As you can see, I do not use TikTok very regularly. The point is, I'm just gonna let you look at this motherfucker's punchable face for just a second there. Before going on with the rest of this video and the rest of this episode. I'm quite sorry about fumbling through that and making you listen to that 2-second clip of that song over and over. It actually is a fucking jam. But I'm sure that was quite irritating. Just look at this fucking douchebag. Ugh. Oh, I fucking hate him. What a fucking jerk. Who the fuck makes this their thing? Just infuriating that he spent his time doing these shitty remakes of these Disney things that didn't really need to be changed at all. but just to get these social, these social points among the other asshole millennial parents. And this is my generation now. And I was saying this, if you go back and listen to my earlier, quite terrible initial attempts at podcasting, it's all me just bitching about people in my age group and like maybe a couple years younger who are acting like they were the ones holding like, throwing shit at like Ben Shapiro a few years ago, on like college the Milo Yiannopoulos years. The people who are firing like Molotov cocktails at campus buildings when Milo Yiannopoulos would show up to speak, those people are fucking parents now, and they're the ones who are doing shit like this. Like, those motherfuckers procreated. And that's what I was warning against back then. I was like, these assholes are going to be the lawmakers. We have AOC now. Good job, dickheads. And we have fucking shitheads like this, who he thinks his life's work now. He has nothing better to fucking do. He uses the hashtag #GirlDad, of course. Changing Tomorrow starts today, part 4. Let's watch. I'm gonna watch it through.
So call me a pessimist, but I don't believe in it. Finding a true love kiss is bullshit. 'Cause
Rapunzel dreams big. She's going to Harvard. So, this is what's fucking infuriating. Rapunzel existed in like, what are we going to call this? I mean, this is infuriating on a number of levels. But Rapunzel would have existed. This looks like medieval England. So historically, at the absolute latest, this would be the 1500s. 1500s, maybe early 1600s, at the latest. Based on the way they are attired here. Harvard did not exist. Europeans had yet to colonize and take over North America and establish Harvard University yet. So you're just pumping your daughter full of historically inaccurate bullshit that's destined to turn her into the type of woman who can't bake a fucking cake and doesn't do anything nice for anybody in the name of feminism. Like, good fucking job, Dad, you fucking asshole.
I felt sad love, I felt bad love.
Now he bakes her a pie. So you've created a reality where, again, your daughter is taught to be a cunt, and the men are better at baking than the women. That's what you've taught your kid. Good job, shithead. Father of the fucking year. Anyway, moving on. This segues quite nicely into the our next and final story for the evening, and I guess we're gonna go a little overtime this week because I love this fucking story. There is a crowd out there of, like I said, millennial parents, my age group, who do advocate for they're disrupting gender or whatever the fuck. They're the CRT people and the parents who are raising their kids without genders and all this weird shit that's done. It's done to make the parents look more woke in the eyes of other parents, and it winds up fucking over their kids because it winds up raising you wind up raising lunatics. This group is currently advocating for giving kids books about sucking off strap-on dildos. There is a big fight between parents and woke educators, and I guess a small group of woke parents who are pushing this policy going on right now. And part of it has been unfolding in in northern New Jersey here. Thursday, this was a couple weeks ago. Thursday night's Wayne Board of Education meeting devolved into chaos in the middle of the public comments portion. Parents concerned for their children's education lined up to take turns at the podium to voice their opinions. The topics range from masks, vaccines, plexiglass desk shields, the proposed sexual education curriculum, and books that are available in the school libraries. And it was this last topic that was at the center of the chaos. There were 4 books, so you can check these out on your own. You can see if your school district has them. 4 books mentioned by parents during the course of the meeting that were at issue. Who Are You? A Kid's Guide to Gender Identity. Sparkle Boy. When Kayla Was Kyle. And Gender Queer. I remember we used to actually play, the town this is taking place in is Wayne. It's actually where Greg Olson, former NFL star. I think he retired, right? Is he still playing with the Seahawks? I don't know. But anyway, he's been a fucking beast for years. Greg Olson. I think he's in the broadcast booth now. I could be wrong. I lose track of these things. I really only pay attention to personnel shit with the Cowboys. But the point is, Wayne, New Jersey, a former Pee Wee football opponent, it would have been great to have had this going on back then. Like, you would have been able to talk so much good pre-snap shit if you knew that the kids on the other team were being taught about, like, sex change operations. Like, hey, 53, is it true that they have this book, When Kayla Was Kyle? Hey, 53, is it true that your brother Kyle is now your sister Kayla? Like, that would have been an all-time elementary school taunt. Get ready, Sparkle Boy. We're coming your way with an unlubed strap-on. Hut. You would have had so much fucking fun with it. And that's what this kind of shit was comedy fodder when I was growing up. And I miss those days. I know we're all supposed to be sensitive to this shit right now, but I like to think that even the couple of trans friends that I do have would find this hilarious. I like to think that they're reasonable trans people. Tori Esposito told the Board of Education that the first 4 books could be found in every Wayne Township elementary school library. Like, yeah, we would have been cracking these open and laughing our fucking balls off. It was this book that, I believe Gender Queer is the book. It was this book that Pamela Masick was reading from when things broke down at the meeting. I tried to find video of this, by the way, but could not. I guess it got pulled. She began reading excerpts using terms like masturbation, strap-ons, and a slang word for fellatio. A blowjob, sucked off, head. It was these terms being shouted out during the public meeting that triggered Board of Ed President Kathy Kazan to tell her to stop reading. Parents at the meeting called... They had a problem with 2 drawings within that depict fellatio being performed. So there were just books in elementary schools showing cocks being sucked. They called the book pornographic. This meeting, by the way, sounds fucking awesome. Like, I guess it's hard to find out about these in advance, I guess, because the tensions kind of simmer in town and then they blow up at the meeting. Like, so you don't find out about it until after the fact unless you're plugged into the community. But I would love to go to one of these things and just watch. Like, bring a fucking burrito and a soda and grab a seat, a seat near the front and just take in the show. Because there's nothing funnier than a pissed off suburban parent, except maybe a pissed off public educator. Like, watching those 2 groups of people go at it is fucking gold. Like, it is literally... Suburban parents and suburban public educators are 2 of the biggest groups of assholes on the planet. And short of watching them hop into the fucking octagon I mean, the next best thing, and maybe even better than watching them throw physical punches, is watching them shout at each other about the availability of books featuring strap-ons getting sucked off in elementary school libraries. Like, this is really just like, remember before when I was talking about how there's just this mental illness going around? This is a prime example of where we're at. She held in her hand 2 copies of the same book entitled Genderqueer, which she said was found, the Wayne Hill High School Library and the Wayne Public Library. I don't have a problem with being in the public library, but I totally get why you might not want this around, like, elementary school kids. Or even your fucking high school kids. Like, I mean, they're kind of learning about shit, so a little bit less so. But they said before, the last paragraph, they said it was in elementary schools, too. She began to read excerpts to the Board of Ed. I was around 11 or 12 years old the first time I began fantasizing that I had a penis, she read. Ma'am, are you reading from the book? Board of Ed President Kathy Kazan said. When the woman replied yes, Kazan said, I don't think that's appropriate. There are young people in the audience. There are young people in the fucking school library too, you fucking nut. Like, that... I feel like it exemplifies why the parents are annoyed. They're like, hey, we don't want our kids reading about strap-ons getting sucked off and little girls fantasizing about having penises. Could you keep this material out of the elementary school library where it is presently found? And then the Board of Ed president says, hey, pipe down. we don't want kids hearing about this shit. And the parents, like, as a parent, like, you're like, yes, that's exactly what the fuck I was just saying. There's another book in question as well, and this one's a real treat. The novel Lawn Boy. And you might be asking yourself, why isn't there a copy of Rent Boys in the school library? There may as well be when you find out what Lawn Boy is about. Contains graphic descriptions of sex between men and children. I guess it's about a boy who comes over to mow the lawn and gets more than a $20 bill. He gets a 6-inch deposit. Both books were previous winners of the American Library Association's Alex Awards, which each year recognize 10 books written for adults that have special appeal to young adults ages 12 through 18. I mean, holy fucking shit. Do you understand now why there are people who think that there's a big cabal of liberal child molesters out there? It's because of shit like this. You can't have a book about, a guy diddling the kid who comes over to mow his lawn, or you can't have books about people sucking off strap-ons, winning awards for books recommended for 12-year-olds, and not, and then be confused when someone's like, hey, are you trying to fuck kids? Because that is the appropriate conclusion to draw. I mean, this award, this seems like this award was given out by either Gary Glitter, known, child perv, or fucking Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. You know that fucking song? Young girl, get out of my mind. Like, that band's whole catalog is just about banging teenagers. That's who it feels like came up with this award. Like, they're like, hey, yeah, everyone wants to bang teenagers. We should start awarding authors who write books about banging teenagers. Ridiculous. This is all about, like I said, this is all about 2 things: control and teachers getting to bang their students. Teachers, and I really, teachers, with few exceptions, and most of those exceptions, I think, are high school football coaches. Teachers are a very mentally unwell group. A lot of them are mentally unwell, and they are vacation enthusiasts. They love that they get paid for a full year's work, and they get to boss kids around all day, and they get their rocks off on control, and every once in a while they take it too far and they wind up banging one of their students. Parents have a vested interest in what their kids are being taught in school, right? Parents pay taxes, they send their kids to the school, so they are entitled to control over what their children are being taught by these people who, on their dollar, are being paid to vacation 3 months out of the year. And so what happens is you have parents raising these very legitimate concerns, and the educators freak out because they're not used to being met with resistance that they can't subdue with threats of just sending a kid, you're going to go to shut up, or you're going to the principal's office. That doesn't work on parents. So when it gets uncovered that they have this little scam going where they're buttering kids up, because you get like an adolescent, a kid going through puberty, they're getting erect, they're sexually suggestive. All these kids are just learning about how good it feels to come. They'll come at every goddamn opportunity. So you butter them up with these books about fucking lawn boys getting molested and strap-ons getting sucked off and chicks growing penises and whatever your little weirdo kink is. All of a sudden, you're an English teacher and you're getting fucking horned up, getting ready to make a move on a 14-year-old, and some parent comes along and fucking cock blocks you. Of course you're gonna get fucking furious. Your anger over not being able to control the situation, and your anger over your inability to ejaculate with an adolescent are going to come to a head, and they're going to slam face first into the anger of a parent whose kid is being fed information about sucking off strap-on dildos, and it is going to get explosive. And if this is happening in your community, please record it. Let me know about it. Like I was talking about those Christian hell houses on Halloween last week. These are the things that I am fascinated by. These are the things that I want to observe. So if this kind of meeting is going on in your community, please fill me in. And I feel like that was well worth going over time for. And since you were kind enough to stick around, what do you say we get these titties back up on screen for you? What a night. Thomas Hager dominating the comment section. All over. Glad it's a sexy book. Yes, it's a very sexy book. Lawn Boys. Andy Wilkins. School's most important function is to get my kids out of my damn house. Yeah, Wilkins, I believe that you would have no problem with your kids or any family member being molested by a public employee, as long as it kept them out of your hair. Your fantastic hair, by the way. You do have fantastic flow. But yeah, I understand that. I realize there are probably some parents who do feel that way, that they would just say, yeah, do whatever you gotta do, penetrate whatever. Like those parents who left their kids with Michael Jackson were probably like, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want. Have fun. Keep them out of my hair for a little bit. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of this mansion. Thanks for the hotel room. Yeah, of course. But anyway, the tits reappearing on the screen are, of course, the signal that it is time to wrap things up for the evening. And tell your friend that if you would like to come check out some big ass titties yourself, that we're doing it here Friday nights at 8 p.m. Facebook.com/The Savage Crew. Mike Montone on Mike Montone on YouTube. Sorry, stumbling over my own words there. At Mike Montone on Twitter. At Gary_Moyler, Moyler, on Instagram. And of course, for those of you who are not big tit lovers, you can find the audio version, the Savage Sacktap, wherever podcasts are available. And I will bid you adieu. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend. Farewell.